Hello. Our watch for today is the Casio Duro. Casio dive style watch. Again, it's obviously, with modern dive computers, it's a little bit kind of primitive. It is the MDV106 1A. MDV106 200 meters. MDV106 200 meters or 20 bar atmospheric pressures of water resistance, stainless steel. There's its swordfish logo. It's got a screw down crown, bezel, 120 I think 120 clicks. Talk about the bezel in a minute. Yeah, so let's talk about the watch for a bit. Anyone looking for a dive style watch, it's not a Rolex homage and has a bit more style to it, cheap, durable beater, this is definitely it. Start off by saying right off the bat, I like it. I like Casios, I like obviously bargain watches, and I think that this one is a great watch. Has some style to it. You wear it on your wrist, it looks really good. Obviously, it was the kind of monochromatic color scheme of black and silver. It is very, you can wear basically any strap with it. So it has that going for it for sure. For sure, it has that going for it. More importantly, what does this watch actually do? What does it give us? It gives us a quartz piece with 200 meters water resistance that looks pretty good. Name on the dial is Casio, so only as someone looking close up to it could tell it's cheap. If you look closely at the dial, you'll notice a sunburst, which a black sunburst is a very nice effect. It's my first black sunburst watch. I really like the effect. So, first thing first, let's talk about the actual design of the watch. So, it's got very much its own design where we have a sword minute hand, arrow hour hand, and another arrow second hand, but it's red to kind of differentiate it. That's the hands. You may notice, let's see if you can notice it with this camera, how they're kind of stepped. They kind of go up and then down, kind of beveled. Kind of beveled on the hands. It's not really going to focus. You can sort of see it in the back of the arrow hand. Now the indices. We have, don't have pointer here. Oh, yes I do. Okay. We have a double sort of trapezoid hour for the 12 o'clock. Obviously the date window is here at the 3 o'clock, so we have smaller rectangle. I think it actually might be a square, then two rectangles and Japan movement on the bottom. With dots everywhere else, everything is nothing is printed, everything is applied except for the logos. Now the bezel is where the watch kind of gets a bit more of its own personality versus any Rolex homage, because the pointer for the 12 or 60 minute, whatever you want to call it, the zero timer, is its own shape. Now that has its pros and cons, because that shape isn't as exact. Obviously it's a square, so it's a little bit harder to use it as a dive watch, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the finishing is brushed up top with kind of a bit more, is that brushed? Yeah, brushed up top and then polish on the sides. I have one issue with the finish, and that is, if you notice the polish in here, the sides of the case, that, to me anyway, looks kind of like the chrome you would see in a bathroom, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like plastic with a chrome cover, chrome polish, so I'm not a huge fan of that. Other than that, with the finish of the watch, I really do like it. It feels very well finished. It's brushed on the bottom. The bezel turns very nicely, not too hard, not too soft. Very nice action to it. Tiny bit of back play, but like I said, it's not the most exact from the get-go, so there's a limit to what you can expect. Not to mention, again, asking price is cheap. So quick specs about the watch. Like I said, 200 meters water resistance. It's got a 44 millimeter case diameter. It has 48 millimeters lug to lug and a 12 millimeter height. Okay, mineral crystal, obvious at this price. Okay, if that fits in like that, that means it's 22, because obviously it's not 24. So 22 millimeter lug width, which is just as good. Not that much more to say about this watch. Everything is loomed, except for the numbers on the bezel. We have the dot on the bezel. The strap is more than okay. Again, for what you're paying, it's fine. The only downside to me really is the polish behind the straps. But this watch, being monochromatic, could take any strap you really want to put on it to give it a splash of color. And unless you get up close to it, you really can't tell. It's not an expensive watch. My next video, and this is going to be actually important this time because I do want to make this one in time, and I will. I've been slightly better this time. Is going to be a comparison between this, a just under 50, let's say $50 dive watch, quartz, versus the out of order Casanova. Size wise, they're pretty close. Design wise, they're pretty close. Only difference is obviously the out of order styling, which is, you know, a bit more distressed. And this one actually is a Rolex homage. But I want to see what the way more money of this gets you when compared to this. Next week, hopefully, I will get around to doing the out of order comparison with this. And we'll see where that goes. So thank you to everyone who watched the Tissot video. I do appreciate it. And I will be here again.